As the ferry carrying my friends home disappeared into the storm, my new life as a fresh kayak tour guide began. The weather was rough for my solo crossing, but I arrived successfully. After the big storm, I set about drying my clothes and tent. At the Kayaking Skopelos tour base in Elios, the tours were organised by the Greek owner and his Romanian wife. There were two of us working as tour guides, a laid-back, easygoing Canadian guy named John and I. John made his living this way, travelling the world year-round, always following the sunshine or where he found interesting work. We got along well, and aside from work, we drank coffee, had beers, and tried out local restaurants together. We picked one spot as our regular dinner place, and the couple who ran the taverna quickly learned that when John came in, they didn't need to ask what he wanted. He wouldn't eat anything except steak. We commuted to work by kayak, sometimes accompanied by dolphins. After years of kayaking, I quickly realised that being a tour guide was quite different from leisurely paddling with friends. The most important lesson was that there was a lot to be done before and after the kayaking itself. Carrying the kayaks, life jackets and paddles down to the shore, sometimes for as many as 18 people. Helping the guests put on their life jackets and giving them instructions before setting out. Sun protection and proper hydration were also crucial. And after the tour, we had to wash the kayaks, put them back on the racks and pack up. Before heading home, which still meant paddling 2 kilometres back from the kayak base to the nearest town where we lived. We mostly led half-day tours for complete beginners, but thanks to the diversity of the people, life was never boring and held many memorable moments. Of course, the weather wasn't always perfect, and when it wasn't, the owner cancelled the tours. But what do two kayak fanatics do when they can't work? They go kayaking. Once, when the weather was bad for 2 days, we paddled around the entire island. We slept on the beach in Skopelos harbour, paddled over to Alonissos the next day, then back, and finally home. It took us 2 days to cover 71 kilometres, but we were young, strong and skilled. One of my most memorable experiences was with a fantastic Danish group. The owner and I led the tour, where we circumnavigated Skopelos in 4 days. They were experienced kayakers and a truly cheerful bunch. Except for one night, they always returned to their accommodation to sleep. But 4 of them were eager to spend at least one night camping on the beach under the stars. Although the owner considered this extremely dangerous, I happily took on the adventure. They had an incredible experience, watching the sunrise, swimming early in the morning, and excitedly sharing their stories with the others who arrived via Lampros minibus from the hotel for the morning paddle. That night, we camped on Era Beach, named after my friend Era, who had capsized in the foaming waves there on a previous trip. But these Danes handled the challenge like pros. I had already been living my solitary seafarer's life for a month when, after much persuasion, I convinced my dear wife to come for a short vacation to Skopelos. She realised she could mark university students' exam papers just as well there as at home.
No? What do you think, Justin?
I think there are worse offices.
So beautiful. Oh.
So while I worked, she graded tests in cafes or on shaded sun loungers. And on my free days, we went kayaking together. Even when we took breaks during our paddles, she kept scoring papers. Despite the hard work, I still managed to take Bear to many beautiful places. She even practiced an Eskimo roll in the Bay of Neoklima. She tried rock hopping on our excursions, and of course we took good care to stay well hydrated. She even got along with the owner's wife, which was no small achievement. But everything comes to an end. My wife left, sailing off into the sunset. John moved on to another kayak base in Santorini. And I was left alone in my little hermit's life, until I too eventually returned home. Skopelos is a beautiful place. No wonder they call it the Green Island. Maybe that wasn't my last summer there, but the rest is a mystery for the future.